Companies that discriminate against Singaporeans when hiring now face harsher penalties. In fact, a logistics company has become the first to be prosecuted under the changes for falsely declaring that it had given local job seekers fair consideration. This is part of revisions to a framework which was introduced in 2014 to target discrimination against locals. Chloe Chu with more.
Stiffer penalties for recalcitrant companies which fail to practice fair hiring processes kicked in this year. Previously, employers who breached fair employment practices were banned from hiring new foreign workers for a minimum of 6 months. This has now been doubled to 1 year. More severe cases face a longer debarment period of up to 2 years. Errant employers will also not be able to renew work passes for existing employees during the ban. Previously, it applied to new work pass applications only. The Manpower Ministry says this would significantly impact the employer's ability to continue operations in Singapore, unless they hire locals.
Let me give you some examples we have detected and found the need to take action against. Well, occasionally we have employers that pre-selected a foreigner for a job position and went through the motion of advertising for the job on mycareersfuture.sg. We've had employers that omitted critical job requirements, very deliberate, so that there were no suitable applicants. And we've also had employers that made false declarations to MOM that they considered local candidates fairly when they actually did not.
The ministry says TI2 Logistics was charged for making a false declaration that it had interviewed Singaporeans fairly when it did not. 4 other companies were also taken to task for not complying with the fair consideration framework. These companies had either posted gender discriminatory hiring advertisements, pre-selected foreign candidates beforehand, or omitted key information in their advertisements. A labour expert CNA spoke to welcomed the ministry's move.
There is a need to change this penalty, to increase the penalty, because as mentioned by the government, currently the employment duration is more like 2 or 3 years. So when there is a increase of the penalty from the 6 months to 12 months, so the companies who would like to do the wrongful actions may consider again, okay, whether is it reasonable or is worse to do things against the law. So they will really need to think about it further.
The labour movement says tackling discrimination is a journey, and there are still ways to further enhance the framework to level the playing field.
There are a few areas that we can embark on. I mean, firstly, of course, FCF, to be covered within the scope of FCF, there are several requirements in terms of salaries, the size of company, etc. So I think one way is to, of course, broaden this scope of coverage. And within the fair consideration framework as well, there's some exemptions. So another way is, of course, to tighten the number of exemptions.
Going forward, the ministry says it's looking at strengthening measures against discriminatory employment agencies, who should know the rules and be held to high standards.